Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
And we get the back view of him, and I mean, it's just a mega.
52 yards is a long shot. Magnum PI, what we named him. No idea.
Just a magnum.
Yeah, just a magnum.
Come on, Cam, last year we said probably 150, mid 150.
Yeah.
Same doe from the morning come out with that 9-pointer.
Here steps out this 90-inch 8-pointer. You're like,
I'm like, okay, well, there's still a buck back there grunting.
Yeah.
And then out steps like another 90-inch 8-pointer. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm like, deer, right there.
Yeah, like
and he's
30
already
yards.
30 yards.
Yeah.
He was literally 5 yards from the base of the tree. Could have been, had a buck down at 1:40 in the afternoon, back there deep on public. 3 does come out pretty early. It was like 245, 24 yard shot, sent the combat veteran, and I tell you what, man, dude, it just smoked. We always get so jacked up when the other person kills. It's just almost like we got it done.
Yeah. And when you killed that doe, I was like, hell yeah, man.
And we come down here to Missouri.
I asked homie one more time, I'm like, is it a good buck? And he goes, yeah, real good, solid buck. I'm like, all right, boom. And the deer just drops. Sure. Super special meat.
All right, let's get into the show.
This is the Whitetail Legacy Podcast. And just so you guys know, we have a beer tower higher than my IQ right now. We have a banger coming from the Where2Hunt podcast and Where2Hunt app. This is a guy that I met through LinkedIn. It's pretty cool. We had a good phone conversation, and he wanted to come on and get a little shout out for his app, and it's something that me and homie we like, and we just love people that are passionate and wanting to grow stuff and like
and positive.
We're here to build everybody else up and try to be the best people that we can. And having this guy on, Eric Clark, to talk about his brand and his podcast is the right thing to do. So let's get into the people that make this possible and get into the show. You got the VIP
Veteran Broadhead shout out? I do.
Shout out?
This week's shout out is Freddie Jenkins, and as I had mentioned a couple weeks ago, he had also signed up at the same time Ryan did. So anxious for them to start their career in the service, and we want to wish them both safety in their careers and thank them for signing up and doing something that we didn't. And we wish you guys all the safety in the world, and we want to thank you and your parents for letting you guys do that and make that sacrifice for us and this country.
Yeah, I appreciate all the sacrifice. Freddie Jenkins, last name's Jenkins. I don't know if we have any relation there or not, but I appreciate what you did, man, and thank you from bottom of my heart and my family, and I just appreciate you doing it. And like I said, hopefully you have a safe career and have some fun. So, ECW calls, embrycustomwoodworking.com. All your custom call needs. Turkey season's right around the corner. Double-sided, triple-sided, single-sided slate calls. You can get them all your calls you need right there. Ingram's Outdoor Obsession. Still rocking out the bucks, but turkey season is right around the corner.
Ooh.
Homie's got a full body up there, hoping to bring him another full body. What species?
Miriam.
Oh, Miriam.
The prettiest bird. I think the prettiest bird. I got a Rio up there right now.
Rio.
Yeah, real gold
and you
looking.
need an Eastern.
I know. Yeah. Don't even do that.
Ingram's about to have a bunch of turkeys from homie.
Hopefully, that'd be real nice.
Real solid. Just knock out 3 right away.
Yeah,
that'd be real solid.
Hopefully, I can take them 2 this year. That'd be decent.
Real sick. But yeah, Ingram's Outdoor Obsession, all your taxidermy needs. Excited for him to start filming, like we mentioned a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Really getting into the camera, so that's going to be cool, and good to see some quality picture content coming out for him. Do you have Exodus trail cams?
Yep. Exodus, guys, they got that 5-year no BS warranty.
Super solid.
Backed by their, customer service support.
You can literally hang that trail camera on a tree for 4 years, 364 days, and pull it and be like, it's broken.
So, funny story, Chad has the Lift 1, and it's still running solid. And it's been out there for 5 years. Like, I don't think he's moved it, and it's still running solid because people are like, oh, it's a new company. How can you have a 5-year warranty?
Yeah.
Well, Chad's out there running the Lift 1, and it's still out there rock solid.
I know. That's unbelievable.
So, just out there doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we always say, you put an Exodus there, you know it's going to be solid. It's going to take pictures. It's not going to mess up. You know, it's got the little security feature on there, so even if someone like looks at it, they're like, shit, it's got a security lock on it. I can't even get into it even if I did take it.
Yeah.
It's another great feature that they add because that couldn't have, you know, if they're like, well, if I steal this, it's pretty much useless, you know what I mean? That can deter a lot of people from messing with your cam. So
Yep.
Big shout out to Exodus. Like we always say, check out their podcast, Trail Cam Radio. Also check out Whitetail Cribs on YouTube. We're loving that. It's Exodus Trail Cams on YouTube also, right?
Yes. Exodus Trail Cameras. Yep. And if you want to pick up one of these fabulous cameras, check out ExodusOutdoorGear.com.
All right, this is going to be our last shout out to Carter Maps. Homie got this birthday gift for me. Still super soaked about it. Super solid. We've been utilizing it a lot, going over some stuff, but go ahead and dig into the Carter Maps for him.
Yep. It's kind of different than what we have this week that I want to cover. This week we're going to cover the wall mural that you can get from Carta.
That'd be so sick.
Like, I mean, we just have a little, not a little piece. I mean, it's a big piece of work from them, but if you were to own if I was to own a piece, this is what I would get, like a wall mural. Like, I mean, it's not like a giant piece, but I mean, it's big. And how cool would that be to like really set off the wall in your lodge or, you know, in your man cave of the piece of ground that you own. Yeah. And Carta can make that come to life and do that for you. Obviously, it's going to be a special appointment and setup of how they're going to get it to you or create that. But I just think that is something for a actual legit landowner who's passionate about their piece of property to have and be able to look at it in a different way.
I think that's super cool, man. You could, like you said, you can piece that on and make all the memories, like, shot a buck over here, found a shed over here, and in your man cave, you can just look out there and be like, man, yeah, I remember that buck I shot, that green pin up there, you know, that was 2016, you know what I mean? Yeah. I shot him, you know, he was chasing a doe, whatever. It's just cool to have that whole wall, you know, that big piece to look at. And plus, like we always say, when you get that big thing you can look at, stuff starts connected and like you can kind of make sense, you know what I mean? Especially if you could see kind of not only your piece, but you can zoom it out, get the neighbor's pieces, the edges to see where the pinch points are and stuff. Super cool. So last shout out for Carter Maps. We just absolutely love their product and just such high quality. That map's gonna look rest of my life. I'll have that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's solid. So
yep. So be sure to check them out at cartamaps.com. Really great product, high quality, and Spencer stands behind his product.
Yep. Is that it?
I believe so,
all
man.
Right, let's get in the show. All right, we got Eric Clark from the Where2Hunt and the Where2Hunt podcast. How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good, fellas. Drinking some scotch like I do.
Nice.
Just hanging out here in my weird green chair.
Oh, yeah. I got a zebra chair.
Yeah, you do.
It was actually my wife's, and she wasn't using it. I was tired of sitting on a non-pad. But we've been doing this 2 years. We can't even get some nice computer rolly chairs out here.
Nope.
Nothing.
I got these uncomfortable stools, and you sit in that long enough, and your back starts to arch. I'm sitting in the chair, and it's this weird green chair from like 1962. I don't know. It's great.
It's probably
it's
real
super
solid. Yeah, it's probably real
Yeah.
solid. Get those chairs that are nice and worn out, and just your right butt cheeks just impressed.
Yeah, it's just form fit now.
Form fit.
I'm just gonna fall asleep in this chair when we hang up. I'll just, stay here.
I'm not gonna move. The scotch is right here. I ain't gotta go nowhere. But we've been trying to get this laid out for a couple months, man. I appreciate you finally coming on, and wanted to have you come on. We enjoy your podcast. I really like your lives. I pop in and I pop out and I'm back in, and it's cool to pop in and out. And I like how you involve, the people that are listening. I think that's super cool, a unique idea, something that I don't think we could ever really nail down. But you do an awesome job at it, so we appreciate you coming on, man.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I think you guys are doing an awesome job. You guys hit my radar, and I fell in love with your podcast just the same. So you're one of the ones out there doing it right, doing it well, and just doing a good job with it. So it's hard to not notice when people are doing a good job.
Well, we appreciate that, man. The main thing we do is we just try to have like the most amount of fun that we possibly can. And somehow I think it's just fun and worth ethic is all it is. You know what I mean? I told homie when we started this, if we're going to start it, we're going to take it serious. We're going to do the best we can. And if it doesn't do anything, oh well, we're still going to have fun, you know what I mean? But since the last season, we've shown a huge growth in listeners and support, and like I said, it's fun, man. You get to grow your brand, see something build, and you got a lot of that going on right now. We'll get into that a little bit later, but I just want you to introduce yourself to our listeners and tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. I'll take the floor for a second. So for those that don't know, Where2Hunt is a GPS-based hunting app. I founded that a couple of years ago. It's kind of like, the Waze GPS app where you avoid traffic jams and shit and other cars. It's kind of like the Waze of hunting. You just avoid other hunters. We'll dive into that deeper. And then the Where2Hunt podcast, I've been doing it for 7 years, which is comical because I only started being consistent a year ago, basically because I'm just a big idiot. So, like, I probably should have like 500 episodes or more, and I have, like 100 something because I would do it when I felt like it and interview someone, then sit on it and then produce it and whatever. And then, I've always had this vision of making a radio show. I wanted to always have it be, the tagline is the community of public land hunters. And it's also, the other tagline is the okayest podcast in the Midwest. So we have 2 taglines now. But it's always been a vision of mine to have it be a radio show for everyone else to call in. So it's their show and not mine, because I don't know shit. And I think there's only so many experts you can talk to. And I think the collective hunting body around the country, everyone's got some nuggets that, no one else knows. And if I can extract that and give it back to the people, that's kind of what I'm trying to do with the show. And it's been a ton of fun, man. I tell you, we've got prank callers now that call in and shit, and you just got to roll with the punches. But we had a really good prank call last
like the pranksters? Or what was that?
Dude, people straight up call and prank us, and they're like contextual prankers. Like, they'll have you believe that they're actually a hunter for like a half a second. Like, oh yeah, I was hunting with my buddies this one time, and then, I came across this thing, and it was Sasquatch, and he was beaten off. I was like, okay, click. Like, what? Like, they don't just come out right away. They really kind of tease you into it. You're like, all right, this might be a real caller. I don't know. He sounds like he's talking about hunting, and then that.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna have to call in some time.
I know. Yeah,
I've
been on there, and I'm just like, I should call in, because if I was doing that, like, I would want somebody to call in. Just kind of trying to do the right thing. And I just haven't yet. It's hard because it's I think you do it around 7 o'clock
sometimes or something. But yeah.
You do it in the evening. Got the kids running around. The wife's usually half pissed off. So I got that going.
I'm talking to the Where2Hunt guys.
Yeah. I'm gonna make it a point to call in there and talk to you a little bit about hunting. I've listened to your podcast multiple times in the live feed, and I know quite a few people that call in and talk, and it's cool to listen to them, and it's kind of like a community. I feel like the podcast tribe is kind of like a community in the hunting industry. So a lot of them call in on there. It's cool to listen to them, see what they got going on, and catch up with what you guys got going on. And then the okayest hunter, I love that.
I
man.
know
that's a super solid slogan. I feel like that's me in a nutshell. You know what I mean? Like, we always say that. Like, this is what we do, but this is just what we do. Like, this isn't the right thing to do. This is just how we might have made success. You know what I mean?
There's these guys on YouTube a long time ago, the Hodge twins or something like that. They're these 2 super ripped twins that were like these fitness guru guys. And at the end of every single episode, they would say, look, man, at the end of the day, this is just our advice. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do. And that was their way of saying, like, don't give a shit. like you can really do whatever you want. We're just giving our 2 cents. And so the okayest hunter thing for me is like, look, I don't have Pope and Young bucks on my wall. I really am. I'm loud. I'm clunky. I'm like, I do things the hard way. I'm Polish. And so for me, I just try to lean into the okayest hunter thing because it's my out. Like people can't say, where's your big bucks? Bro, I never said I had a big buck. I'm just trying to learn from everybody else. And so, I think that it should be okay to shoot whatever the hell you want to shoot. It's your tag. Do whatever you want with it. Why you got to come at me with that stuff? Like, get out of here. So that's kind of my way to combat that. So we have a brand now, the okayest hunter, on Instagram, and it's just a funny page to try to make hunting okay again, like the presidential campaign.
And nothing turns me off more from a person than just hearing that, like, the only way to do something is their way. Because 9 times out of 10, there's probably a little better way, whether you do, tweak it here, tweak it there, or, just tweak it the way you want it. And, I don't have to do it exactly the way, because no two people are alike. They're always going to be something that I'm a little better at than you are, and you're a little better at than Cody is. So, just for somebody to say to kill a 150-inch deer, you have to hunt this way, it's just absolute bullshit, really. And, it just gets old hearing it over and over and over again, because there's very many ways to hunt. And, hunting is supposed to be fun. It's a sport. It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, keep an open
that's
mind,
what we're supposed to be doing.
Lift each other up. Don't tear each other down.
Exactly. So I want to hunt this way, and it's fun for me. Whether I'm successful or not is, maybe that's not the dependent outcome that I want. I just want to be out there hunting.
Yeah, everyone's version of success is different. I know that sounds cheesy sometimes, but for me, it's adventure. Like I want to blaze a trail and have something memorable happen. And the further off I go from the trail, the better the adventure. And then I'm learning a lot of stuff along the way. And if I see a deer, that's a bonus. If I get one, that's a double bonus. If I get a big one because I've learned some shit and I've applied it, that's pretty incredible, But the goal is to have fun and enjoy the time outside, man. That's it for me. Like if I ever lose touch with that, I've lost myself, and I'm not trying to do that. Everyone has their challenges, and that's great. But at some point, you get too caught up in some of these challenges and besting yourself, and then you just get disappointed with stuff, which is okay. You can be disappointed, but it has to stay fun, man. It has to stay fun. That's what I think. I mean, that's my opinion. You can do what the fuck you want to do.
Yeah, and I feel like, maybe 2-3 years ago, like, it was getting really bad of, like, people going against each other and stuff. But I feel like these last 2 years and going forward, I feel like it's really starting to come back to, the roots of why we're out there. People shooting what they want, being proud of what they shoot, not saying, well, it's not the biggest one out there, but they're just proud to shoot a deer, and which we all should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how many times being home we've talked about like the filming side of that, what we're doing, the podcast side. When it becomes not fun, I've told him I'm done, and he said the same thing. We're done. We will literally, if this becomes not fun tomorrow, the podcast is done. Like, and that's just the way it is, because if you're doing something, you're not having fun doing it, just like hunting or anything that you do in life, and it becomes work, it's going to become a negative very quick. So, just like you said, being the okayest hunter is a great term, because there is a lot of guys out there that maybe they have killed a couple good bucks or whatever, or, a few, but then they're experts. And me and homie both killed a couple good deer, but we are far from experts. And I feel like people who take the expert route put a negative onto the people that are trying to grow, because they're trying to be like, well, if I don't do this, then I won't be like this guy.
Yeah.
But if you got a guy saying, I'm okay, this is kind of what I do, this might work for you, I would rather listen to that guy as a beginner than a guy that's like, well, this is how you do it, because this is how I've done it, and then there's no other way, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I think you're doing the right thing there, and you're putting a positive impact behind what you're doing, and hopefully motivating people to get out there. That's our main mission, motivate people to pursue hunting, get out there and have fun, involve their kids, and enjoy the sport.
That's exactly it, man. That's what that's kind of it. Like trying to build a community of, I'm an overly positive guy anyways. I'm a eternal perpetual optimist, and I think everything's going to work and everything's going to be great. And I learned that not everyone thinks that way, but certainly, not the cheesy way of be positive and happy. I'm not like, running an episode of Peppa Pig here, but certainly you should have some positive outlook on things and not be a negative Nancy.
Yeah, and I mean, I've taken that to the extreme here, like the last 2.5, 3 months, and I listen to Gary Vee almost every day, and I'm a big pusher of the honey empire. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Just build the tallest building, man. Don't tear other people's buildings down. I've been listening to Gary Vee for like probably about the same amount of time I've been podcasting, 7 years, and I met him last year on April 1st. It wasn't April Fool's, so almost a year ago I met him in person. I spent a day at VaynerMedia and hung out with his crew. He's got 30 people around just him. They all operate off a text message, which is hilarious. And met D-Rock, and dude, it was like I thought someone had to pinch me. I was like, is this real? Am I really here? It's crazy. And the amount of stuff that I learned from that guy, I'll never be doing as much as him. I feel like there's just
no way.
Freaking maniac.
Yeah.
Which makes me feel like I'm always deficient. And I'm doing a lot.
I always feel like I'm deficient. Even with the podcast, I'm like, I'm not doing enough. I just feel like I'm not doing enough.
Not when you look at Gary. There's no way.
There's no way.
But like we get messages, sporadically of people listening to the show, and all of a sudden their ignition to go out and hunt again has been reignited, and that's cool to hear. But
that's cool.
Like it's not really, it doesn't really get into your head. But for me to say that Gary Vee's podcast has changed my life, like that is the real deal. Like that has happened. But when somebody says it to me, like I just don't, it doesn't connect. But it is believable for that to happen.
Yeah, like we had that guy that messaged us and was like,
he's in Mississippi, and he's like, I just listened to you guys, and this October, I'm getting a stand on my back. I'm going to pack in, and I'm just going for it. I'm just like, whoa, dude. Yeah. Like that is super awesome.
It's like,
dude, I had a guy message me that's cooking more because of musket powder. So I'm not even trying to like pump brands. Like that's not, don't get me twisted here, but like I rep those guys, and he's like, I'm cooking more because of that. I bought some arrows that you had some arrow guys on Vector Custom Shop. So I bought those. Your guy that does the tip of the week, Deer Vein, Anthony Heller, he's coming up to Minnesota to help some vets because I'm running a veteran thing up here, teaching vets how to shoot bows and get them in the woods, help with PTSD. And he's like, dude, you're impacting lives. You don't even fucking realize it. Like he's like, I'm just one person, right? And then I had a guy in Texas that I talked to earlier this week, and he's like, I introduced him to 3 people trying to help him with what he's doing because he had heard of the show. And it's just like, you don't realize the ripple effect of what you're doing. Dude, every time anyone says they listen to the show, I'm like, dude, I thought I had like 4 listeners.
Yeah.
I'm so happy. And I know that's not true because I see the numbers, but that's how I treat it. And that's how I feel. I'm humbled every time someone says, oh yeah, I listen to your show. I'm like, shut up, really? And I don't expect you to, but like, that's so cool to hear. Someone told me the other day, like, dude, I said, Alexa, play Where2Hunt podcast, and it did. I was like, wait, I didn't even know I could do that. Really? That's a thing? Shit. All right, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun. I love it, man. I love it. That's the oxygen, right? That's what Gary Vee said. That's my oxygen. That is the same way I feel. I need, and I'm not egotistical or anything like that, but I need that affirmation, man. I need to know that I'm not in an echo chamber. Like, I need to know people are hearing this shit. Otherwise, what am I doing it for?
Well, I
mean, when I get that feedback, it feels great. I love it.
For sure, yeah. And, I mean, it's a lot of work. A lot goes on behind the scenes. A lot goes on before we hit the record button and lay this down that, you just want somebody to be able to enjoy it, whether it's one person. Like I told Cody, I said, I'll go till we're not having fun or there's, 0 people listening. Like, if one person can take something from it, then we're going to keep going,
Yeah, absolutely, man. So anyway, the podcasting it's a great thing. It's a fun space, trying to learn together and help each other and connect folks and this and that. It's been a good thing.
Yeah, the power of podcasting is something we didn't even know, like the friendships we've made and connections we've made. And we were just a couple guys in a pink room with $50 microphones, sending it, what I mean? Like
barely sending it.
Yeah, that's how we started, like, let's start a podcast. And then 2 days later, we're Googled it and here we go. So, but yeah, now we're 2 years and a few months in, and it's starting to gain traction, and it's just
your logo is dope. Like your show is dope. I mean, the way you guys have it laid out and the like banter you guys have, it's good stuff. It's real good stuff.
Yeah, the logo. I told the guy, I said, well, actually, my mother-in-law was like, well, what if you do this? And I was like, that's a good idea. I'm gonna add this, and a guy at work, I was like, this is what I want, and he's like, nailed it. First time drawing it.
He
Just
did. I
absolutely
do logo
crushed
design,
it.
and he nailed it. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I appreciate good logos when I see them because that's what I do, and that's
The
good
hardest
shit.
thing
Good
for
logo.
us really was the name.
Yeah, the name was
Oh.
tough.
Even the
man.
name is good, dude. Like my
Yeah.
name's stupid. I picked that because that was what people searched in SEO world when I was selling SEO back in 2008.
I think
9,
Where to
10.
Hunt. I think where like what your outlet is, or like where you're headed. I think that's a solid name. Where to Hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for what
it's
you
just
got
so
going
funny
on.
because it's so literal.
Yeah.
But it's actually like where not to hunt, technically.
Yeah, pretty much. But we were both like, newly into dadding it up, and we
Yeah.
were like, man, what? I always told homie, I said, main thing is like podcasts don't go away; they're there. You know what I mean? Even podcasts that haven't released an episode for 3 years, you can still search them.
Still out there.
They're still there.
Yep.
So I said, in 10 years, if our kids find all these episodes and they can dig through all of them, just the amount of knowledge that they can learn, and then like, how cool would it be to be able to listen to your dad when he's 25? Like for hours at a time. How cool would that be? To be like,
Yeah, and when they're a teenager, it's not happening.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, like freaking, oh yeah, I just took my son out on a shed hunt, blah, 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 when he was 5, and the kid's 25 and he's listening to that. That's going to be so epic, you know what I mean? Like if I had that with my dad, it would be incredible. And that's why I told him, I said, what, Whitetail Legacy, dude, we're trying to leave a legacy with our kids, and that's our main mission. Like, show normal people that they can kill big deer if they put the work in, because that's a lot. A lot of people's goal is to kill a nice buck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm not hating on that at all on how I approach things. Like, but that's my goal too. To a certain extent, but I'm happy with some other shit along the way.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm the same way. When I first started, I told homie, I don't know how many 6-pointers she got murdered. I mean, it was a lot of small basket racks, a lot of 3 points. You know what I mean? And it was fun. It was so much fun, man. It was so awesome. You know what I mean? And I don't ever push anybody to kill something they don't want. Like Thor, dude, he killed that.
Oh,
he was just
dude,
super
jacked.
and I was so like, that deer was, what was it, a 5-point? I can't remember, but he was in Georgia, and the deer killed it, and I was like, dude, this guy is so jacked
With a rifle at like 40 yards.
Such a special moment for him, and I could feel the passion, and I was jacked for him.
Yeah.
Like, that's what hunting needs to go back to. And like I said, I think guys like you and us trying to do the right thing and motivate people to do what they want and enjoy the sport through podcasts is slowly grinding to people to maybe think, well, maybe they can kill whatever they want. So
the number 2 name instead of Whitetail Legacy, the number 2 name was going to be Bucks, Beers, and Bows. But since Cody's the gun guy, that wouldn't have lasted too long.
You'd have shot a hole in that with it.
Yeah, we'd have had to change it real quick.
Had to have Bucks, bows, and guns.
Whitetail Legacy was the right move.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Way solid. All right. Well, we kind of hit on the Where2Hunt app, but kind of dig into a little bit more of what you got going on with that, and where people can find it and get involved.
Yeah, so I'll ramble here for a little bit because it's my life. So I started the app as what's called an MVP, which means a minimum viable product, for those that might not know. And for those that do, sorry to patronize you, but the first version was a static check-in. So the concept, because the technology is kind of limited, you'd go out to your tree stand, because that's how I hunted, and I assume that's how other people hunted. And you would get all set up, your safety harness is in, you're all good to go, and you open up the app and you click check in, and it would go tick tick, and you'd be checked in to a public map. So then digitally, you're a dot that represents a hunter, and then you would then see anyone else that's checked in too, within a certain range of miles, and you would be notified at a range that you would select. So maybe I want to be alerted if someone else checks in 5 miles away from me or closer. So then your phone would vibrate. It'd say refresh your map, and it would say, boom, another hunter's is checked in nearby. Like now there's some awareness, right? So part of that's kind of safety, your target and beyond. But really the concept was like, if I roll into this parking lot and there's 10 cars and trucks or whatever, I know that if I'm the jackass that got there late, I'm going to ruin someone else's hunt, and I don't want to do that. And this is a spot I was planning to hunt because I scouted it last, spring or whatever. And so even if I saw 2 people on the Where2Hunt app out of the 10 cars, that's still a better outcome, right? I'm going to at least avoid 2 people for sure. And so really I'm trying to like disperse hunters on public land is what my goal is. What people think is the number one problem for getting into public land is access. That's not true in the data. What the data tells us is actually it's time. Time from day job, career, wife, kids, if you're a girl, husband, kids, whatever, and like family, and not having enough PTO and just time to get out in the woods. So the number one problem with getting out to any public land to do hunting at all is time. We just don't have a lot of it. So for me, with Where2Hunt, now it's changed. We have a version 2 and it's live tracking. There's no more static check-in. So if you open it, it's kind of like Uber when you see a car coming your way on its way to pick you up. You can see people moving through the woods actively.
Oh, nice.
So it's not like you have to check in. It just runs. And you're seeing the same thing happen everywhere else. And then a lot of people got pissed. They're like, dude, I don't want to share my spot and have people take it. So we created a private group feature so folks can go in and like track their own hunting party. So if you're doing gun hunting with a group of 8 guys or 5 guys or whatever, or gals and guys, you can see where, Joe Smith is and Eric Clark is, and you'll know specifically where your buddies are, which is good because people get bumped or they get lost, they move, they, whatever, they still hunt. And so the way that it works now, like, it's kind of like the Waze app, like the GPS app for like driving of hunting. I don't have a lot of time. I have 2 kids. I have a 2.5-year-old and a 6-month-old. I have a day job. I do the startup. I do the podcast. I do graphic design on the side, primarily logos. And so for me, like if I have time in the woods, if I see another hunter or they bump into me, we now are not going to see any deer. And I don't have any problem with bumping into people. Like I'm very cordial and very nice. I'm a big believer of killing with kindness. Like I'm never going to be a jackass to someone. I think we're out there for the same reasons. But unfortunately, we're not going to see any effing deer now. So that sucks. It's a pretty bad use of my time. So if time is the number one variable as to why people won't hunt, if I can help them make better use of their time in the woods and avoid each other, and so we have some more awareness, that's kind of the goal of the app, so to speak. So I don't want folks to be like, if you log in and you're publishing where you're at, I don't intend it to be this, come to my spot. It should be a beacon to say, stay the hell away from me. I'm occupying the space right now. So it's really an app that helps identify occupied and unoccupied hunting land. That's the premise.
Yeah.
I was long-winded.
No, yeah, I would say it's a great explanation about it. And, that guy that said, well, I don't really want people to come to my spot. And just like you said there right at the end, it is more of like, hey, I'm here. Like, let's be respectful. Let's be courteous. You realize I'm here. Go to maybe your backup spot or something, or maybe you need to get here 20 minutes earlier tomorrow or something.
Right.
That's kind of how I look at it.
Claim your spot, and so it's interesting because there's a number of dynamics playing out here. There's a gal that was on the Working Class Bowhunter podcast that said she would put a laminate photo of a map on the back of her car on her windshield or like her back window to show hunters and she would put like I'm here. And so she was doing like an analog version of the Where2Hunt app.
Yeah.
Because she didn't want people to come and she didn't want people to mess up her hunt, right? And like waste their time trudging out to her spot and to find that she's there. So she's like, stay the hell away. And so like I don't know that your spot's even any good. Just because I see a dot on a map doesn't mean that means that's where the deer are. Like, how do I know your spot's any good? And by the way, for the record, it's public land. Like, it's not actually your spot, wake up call. And for the folks, this is going to be a little bit of a dig, but for the folks that are the hardcore hunters and the avid guys who I talk to them every day on my podcast, every week, that this is my spot. I don't want to share it. That's okay to an extent. I get it. But that type of mentality isn't going to keep hunting around for the next 10, 20 years. If there's a new wave of folks coming into the space, we want to share that with them. Like, I'm the first guy to say, have my spot. Like, I'll go find anyone. I'm the seasoned guy here. Even though I'm the okayest hunter, like, I'll go figure something else out. But if you're new, I'll put you where the deer are. So I've introduced 5 people to hunting in the last 7 years or so. 5 people that have never, ever done it. And I've put them on deer every single year when we go gun hunting, and they've gotten deer. And that's exciting for me. Why would I keep them from that, right? Like, I wouldn't guard that. So this is my friends. That's how I treat them. That's how I treat everybody in hunting. If there's a noob, it's like, look, man, this is a great spot. I think you'll have some success here. Like, you're not going to get the biggest buck, but you can fill your freezer. I promise you that. As long as you take a good ethical shot, there's a good chance you're going to see some deer here. And I think that's kind of the message I'm trying to put out there. So that's a little bit of the app, and there's some big plans for the app. I'm part of an incubator, and we're looking for investors, and there's a lot of crazy stuff happening with how that's going to get rolled out. It's just going to keep growing. We have about 40,000 users on the app right now, and that's for free. I don't have any more money to put into it. So, if I get some funding behind this thing, it's going to blow up.
Well, props to you for, getting people out there and getting them on deer, man. I mean, that's something to be proud of.
It's exciting, dude. I love it. And I'm like, all right, let's teach you how to gut. And then I make them drag it like an asshole. Like, now you got to do it. Like, what do you mean I got to drag it? I'm like, you got to do some work now, man. It's not about the shooting of the deer.
Yeah, it's all part of the experience.
Work. Yeah. I think I'll sweat it up. And I'm like, oh, man. Then you appreciate it. And when you eat it, you enjoy every morsel. It's like, it's a different experience when you provide for yourself like that. So, it's been a thrill ride, man. It's a lot to do all that stuff. And it's an interesting market. Hunters are passionate folks, and I hear it. I'm a hunter. That's why I did this. I wanted to help us all.
Yeah, I think you're doing it the right way, man. And I feel like you said there's gonna be some hard people to convince. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of people that are really selfish when it comes to hunting, and that's one thing that I try not to be. I try to be kind of open-minded, and we're actually going to write a blog here soon about building relationships on public land. I feel like a lot of people approach them wrong. We've always approached them with open arms and kind of trying to work together. And literally every person that we've met on public ground has been really solid person. And, we kind of bounce ideas back together, back and forth. And I feel like most hunters are solid guys, but I feel like there's very few number of guys that kind of take it maybe a little bit too serious.
One bad egg ruins a whole bunch,
yeah,
and you get guys that are, just it is what it is. Like, you're gonna have that anywhere in life, in every facet of what you're doing, and I agree with you there.
Yeah, but I mean, I am excited to see where the app go just for the short time I've talked to you, just because I can see the passion that you have for the project. Wanting it to grow and wanting it to grow for the right reasons. I mean, you're trying to help other people. You're trying to grow the sport, which you talk to anybody, that's like the main thing. I mean, the sport's dying.
I want to be there for my kids.
Sells. Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And so every single person I've ever talked to, dude, there's not someone that has hunted public land that hasn't been bumped into someone. And next time that happens, for everybody listening, next time that happens, or if it happened in the past, just think to yourself for a second, man, if they had this Where2Hunt app, that could have been prevented. Like, that didn't have to happen. That's it.
Yeah, like, it'd be really cool to know where a guy was squirrel hunting. Like, I'm going to be squirrel hunting in this area.
Yeah.
Like, during early bow season. Because then you're not, like, I'm not going to pack a stand all the way in there, hang up, and then a squirrel hunter come through, you know what I mean? So
so we're building a heat map right now. It's basically built. I just got to release it and all that stuff, which is kind of a pain, but it's pretty straightforward. Like, the way it's going to work, right? We know what people are doing based on literally the times they're hunting, like during the day, and like what's in season that time. So we can make some pretty good assumptions about whether they were turkey hunting, deer hunting, squirrel hunting, et cetera, to a certain point. And there's ways that we're going to build into that, but the heat map concept is for free. You can open up the app and you can see everything from this time last year and back. So, like, if I open up the heat map, and let's just pretend it was rolled out for a second, I open up the Where2Hunt app, I could see everything from, March, is it 6th, from 2019 and backwards. So I can say, oh, look at, like, what did September of 2019 look like? From a perspective of like, what was the hunting pressure in the area that I'm going to be hunting? And what did October look like? What did the rut look like? And so now you can start to go, oh shit, this is really a hot area. Like maybe this coming year, I'm going to look at it differently. And then for a paid fee, you can see everything from today and back, right? So now I can see real-time data. And so I can look at this season specifically and how it's starting to heat up and compare and contrast that data to last year and the year before and the year before to get a sense of what that movement looks like. And because we have so many users coming to the app, even the avid and hardcore guys that say they don't want to share their spots, I can see the data. Those folks love to see where everybody else is hunting, even though they don't want to share their spot. So the refresh rate on that, in some cases, it's a couple hundred times a day where they're refreshing the app to see where everybody else is hunting. So like, we're going to address that too. And if you want to just be completely incognito, but still see what's happening, there's going to be a price to pay for that, because that's valuable data at that point. If you're not willing to forego where you're hunting, then that's fine, but you can pay for it.
I think that's a good idea too. That gives you kind of an incognito, but gives you the information of where other people are hunting, which is incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, they're gonna take it on the expense of all the guys that are doing it for free. But there's a new breed of hunter that they don't care. They just not care. They don't care that way. They want the community. They want to know what's going on. They want to be connected and see what's happening. So, I'm learning a lot in doing this because I have data. I'm having all these conversations with so many people every single day, and it's just compounding my efforts here. So it's interesting, man. It'll be fun to see where it goes. And then the podcast is just this other thing that's kind of growing its own legs.
Yeah, well,
I would say just looking at the data would be, super cool to just have that and know what people are doing out there. That would be super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Onyx is great. Like you can see property boundaries, know where you stand. I think if like their tagline is "Know where you stand," ours isn't, but it could be "Know who stands among you." Like 90% of our time is scouting away from other hunters. I think that's not a real statistic. I'm just making that shit up, but like that's what it feels like. And so why not make that easier?
Well, I know that we've walked way deep into spots and scouted it, and there's a bunch of stands, and we're like, oh, but this is done. Yeah. And we could save all that time.
What a waste of time.
Yeah, we could save all that time if people would be like, oh, I got stands here, 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 and here. And then you could be like, well, shit, I'm not going back there. It ain't worth the walk, you know what I mean? Yeah. So
then it's a matter of claiming it, like, because that's what's happening anyways. People are getting there first and they're claiming it.
Yeah, and then I mean,
see what the difference is digitally.
Still,
because if someone goes to your spot in person, now they just ruin it with their scent. Like you might want to tell them to stay away digitally so it doesn't get all mucked up.
Yeah, but it could be cool, if a guy's like, he's a few hours away and he might only hunt there like every Saturday. You're like, okay, well this guy's only here on Saturdays.
Right.
I could get in here and hunt on a Wednesday after work and there's going to be no one here. And then by the time this guy gets here on Saturday, it's going to be good to go, and then it'd be cool if you could, kind of create a community and be like, hey man, I'm kind of hunting the same area as you, like a personal message kind of Instagram deal, DM the dude and be like, hey, bro, I'm going to go in there on Wednesday. I'll let you know what I see. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be kind of cool.
Hey, Buckmaster 89.
Yeah,
This is Buckslayer 92. I'm telling you.
It's Buckslayer 69. Yeah, so I'm going to be going there on Wednesday. I seen your trail camera. You're going to see a picture of me, you know what I mean? Because that's how, it was the craziest thing. We met some guys on public, and they got a trail cam picture of Homie, and they were like, oh, that's the guy we seen from Whitetail Legacy. And then they personal messaged our page. And they're like, are you guys hunting XXX spot? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, I got a trail cam picture of you. I was like, damn.
That's creepy.
Can't be incognito anymore out there.
That's funny.
It was super hilarious. It didn't help that we were like inches away from his cam when we walked by. Like he had it staged. We had to like walk around this water to get like a foot away from it.
Yeah, it was kind of half-ass flooded, and then there was a giant bush, and then boom on the camera. So you're literally 8 feet from the cam. When you're right there. You're just like, oh shit, I'm right here.
At it. You're like, oh, there's a camera.
And we weren't expecting anything back there. Like we decided it's kind of like going to be our own little spot, but. It is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you can do.
People read maps the same way. Like, it's not like your spot isn't as sacred as you think with
Nah,
the
there's
way the
always
world works
someone
these
there.
days.
It's just being there when they're not there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's
Yeah.
the key, and that's what we kind of worked out with us. Like,
Dude, I thought I was being all freaking stealth when I took a canoe out a couple years ago, 2 years ago, and I was like, this is gonna be it, man. We're gonna be the only guys on this property. And sure shit, dude, I get to this spot, and it was the only spot I was gonna go. Like I wasn't gonna paddle up another 2 miles upstream, and I get there and there's a fucking canoe there. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
oh yeah,
Just
And that's one of those
heartbreaking.
moments I'm like, God, if they were using my app, I would just stay away from this. Not a big property. And I walked up on one guy who was sleeping. He didn't know me. I was there. I skirted around him. And then I got to a spot. I'm like, all right, my buddy went one way. I'm like, you might see guys, just keep an eye out, look up for tree stands, like just keep a keen eye. I'm gonna go this way. Hopefully I don't bump them. We'll see what happens. And I'm like, I don't even know if it's one guy or two for the record. So I bump one guy, he's sleeping, I move on. And then all of a sudden I hear thwack, boom. All of a sudden a freaking doe comes like running right. I mean, I could have freaking touched this thing running right at me, and then runs through a cornfield and like hightails it a certain way and like runs the edge of the cornfield and dies. I'm like, what the fuck just happened? I never saw the hunter. I never saw him. I don't. He must have seen me, I think, and I certainly had to have some sort of play in that deer. The whole thing playing out, but I had no freaking clue he was there. No clue. And I'm like, oh God, people just use a stupid app that I made. I'm like, come on. And then I see the sleeping guy walking up to his buddy, and I watch this all go down. And he comes up to me, and I'm like, dude, you're whoever it was shot a doe. She ran this way. I think she's dead over there. Like, go get her. I'm gonna go back this way now because I'm not gonna see shit, obviously. And good job, guys. Have a good day.
yeah.
It would have been nice to just avoid that side of the property altogether. Honestly. But it is what it is. That's just how it goes. And so like, that's the stuff that, I experience and see, and I know there's a solution for it. We just got to get more bodies on the app.
Yeah, yeah. We hiked in, crossed a huge ravine, walked way across, and then there's a stand 150 yards. We're like, sweet,
Yeah.
But it's public land. You can't
You
tell
have to
that guy
expect
not
it.
to be there.
No,
You know what I
right.
mean? You
That's
just
just
gotta
it.
hunt.
Yep.
So we made friends with them and we worked together and we hunted. That's what we do. And like with that app, we would have known that guy was back there, and maybe it would have deterred us from going back there, or maybe it's like you said, it's in the end, it's public land. So as long as people aren't marking on there, just seen a giant buck back here, or just shot this, it's not going to draw people to certain areas. You know what I mean?
Right,
But
right.
if there's like a harvest report, that's the guy just being blatant. You know what I mean? But if there's a harvest,
No, we don't
report,
do that. We keep it anonymous. We don't have that. I mean, although, there's talk of maybe doing something like that, like for data's sake, not for.
Yeah, I think it would be cool if you
public
could
sake.
do like some kind of data, like total number harvest off this piece of public, per the year. Because I know the DNR has all that info. You know what I mean? Like how many deer were harvested off this piece, how many turkeys, and that kind of give an idea of a guy like, well, what's a deer population like? Is it worth driving 2 hours to go to this piece? You know what I mean? What's my odds? And also you would have, amount of hunters, amount of deer harvest, and that'd give you a pretty good idea of like, okay, maybe there isn't.
What's really going on here? Yeah.
Maybe it's not worth a 2-hour drive to go down there and check it out. Maybe I should go over here. So I think you have a really good idea. It's just
great idea.
Getting the
It's the awareness.
getting the
It's the
fine
awareness.
print and the awareness out about it, and that's why we had you on to kind of give you some awareness of the app and that people can get on it. So where they can find the app on the App Store.
Yeah, you can't. I think it's kind of hard to search. I think, anyways. But if you go to where2huntapp.com and you could type in the letter 2 or the number, or like the word TO or the letter. Oh my God, the number 2. Words are hard, guys.
Oh yeah, I'm a terrible talker. I don't have a face
gosh.
for movie or word language.
Yeah, what am I
for
doing
radio.
hosting a podcast?
Yeah.
Jeez. No, yeah,
I messed that up on
where2huntapp.com.
purpose. It was supposed to be a joke.
I'm laughing.
Yeah, I know.
Yell at me
gosh.
again.
Oh yeah.
What if Greg, my co-host, he always says, "I got a beautiful face for radio."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm telling
But
you.
yeah, where2huntapp.com, it'll be the hub of everything. You can get to all the social channels from there. You can get to the podcast. You can buy apparel. You can download the app for Google or Android. Whatever, either one, iOS or Android. And there's the recipe of the week there. We have all our partners on there. It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, I need to get on an Okayest Hunter T-shirt for sure.
Yeah,
that's definitely me.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we got a couple of those. So it's funny because I have the Wisconsin Okayest Hunter, which is me, and then I have its whole separate brand called the Okayest Hunter, and we have some Okayest Hunter hats and shirts and stuff that we put out there. It's just kind of spun up as its own little entity, so it's kind of neat. It's grown.
When you get
rapidly.
a good thing, you got to run with it, man.
Yeah.
Yep, that was it. I was like, well, let's just put this out there and see what happens. Then we're doing also with the podcast, we've released a couple weeks ago. We started the most memorable hunts. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
Yeah, I've seen it on LinkedIn. Yeah,
it's we're film scoring. So every guest I have on, I ask them, hey, what's your most memorable hunt? And I plant the seed at the beginning. I tell them not to tell me, and by the end, I ask that question. And then people share, and everybody's is different, dude. Sometimes it's like the scenery, sometimes it's your kid, sometimes it's someone else got a deer, sometimes you did. It's whatever for everybody's different. And then I take that story and I film score it. So they're saying like, oh, it was dark out, it was super early morning or nighttime, we're playing crickets in the background, maybe an owl. If I had to trudge through the swamp, we're playing some sloshy, swampy sounds. I had a shotgun, so we're really kind of like trying to tease out the story and kind of get people to visualize what's happening. And then we gift that to our guest to say, this is your most memorable hunt. And we put it in a story form for you. And it's a really small episode. Like they're not more than 5 minutes usually. So it's a mini series. And we put that out there now as a new piece of content for the show. And so far it's received really, really well. The numbers are great. People seem to like it. And there's a lot of replays on it because it's a shorter thing. So that's been kind of fun to do. It's a lot of work, but I think it's a good product.
Yeah, I enjoyed the one I've seen there on LinkedIn, and I intend to watch the rest of them. Hopefully, like you said, you continue to do them. And I think that's a super cool idea because that's what I think a lot of people relate to is the story. And what's better than the story with a little audio and visual to go along with it? You know what I mean? So
yeah, there's some podcasts I listen to in the business world and community that do that kind of stuff, and they're narrated. I want to do more. I want to get better at it and do even a better job. But you got to start somewhere, obviously, and kind of shape the wheel as you go. But for me, the quintessence of hunting is the adventure and the story and the memories. And like, dude, look at the podcasting space. There's zero people that have just the stories. There's no one. It's BS sessions, it's gear, it's tactic, it's which is fine. Those are all great. But there's no one doing just the stories. And so for me, that's white space, and I wanted to, fill that up a little bit. So I kind of started prepping for it a long time ago, and now we're actually just releasing it. So it's a full barrel, and there's a lot in the barrel ready to go, and I'm really excited about it. We're just starting to dole them out. The hard part for me is I want to put them all out right now, but
you got to space out the content.
Yeah.
So now I'm sitting on them. I'm like, I gotta wait till Saturday.
That's like when all our videos were done. We're like, we just want to drop them all. But we gotta space them out. You know what I mean? So it's tough. But
it's a challenge for me personally.
We talked about the Where2Hunt app. So let's talk. I know you hinted on a little bit, but talk about the Where2Hunt podcast a little bit, and then where all our listeners can find it, how they can engage on your podcast live. Kind of go over that a little bit.
Yeah, so I think the same place it'll take it. So we host ours on Anchor, which is really cool. Not that I'm pumping those guys out, I don't really care, but they publish it everywhere. So I had it on when I started 7 years ago. There weren't like platforms. Like there was like two. It was like Libsyn and one other one back then. Because 7 years ago would have been like what 2011? That's not right. I can't do math, guys.
2013 would have been 7 years ago.
2013, thanks. Dude. All right. So this isn't too dissimilar from my podcast when I try to do math. So I had a home-baked system that my buddy built on archive.org. And he's a nerd guy. He codes for a living. So he like built his own content management system for me to be able to upload episodes and like did this whole thing. And so for the longest time I was using that, and I switched to Anchor, which distributes it everywhere. So it's on Spotify, it's on Stitcher, it's on iTunes. I don't think there's anywhere you can't go to get this. And because we broadcast it live, it automatically saves at least the interview, not the fully produced thing, but the interview to YouTube, to Facebook, and to Twitter. And we just found a way to produce it to Instagram, although it seems to be like intermittent. It works sometimes, not other times. But if you want to call into the show, we have a phone number for it. It's 262-757-4122. And we host the show every single Tuesday, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central Standard. And then in September to December, we light up our Rut Club Radio, which is a segment that we do. We got a sponsor for that. It's Heated Hunts. And that is where we take calls exclusively about rut activity for a half hour from 6 to 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time every Tuesday. And that's a fun segment. That's a really neat thing. And then we bake that into the podcast.
Nice. Yeah, I know the rut segments, everybody's amped up that time of year and really involved and wanting to know when the bucks are chasing. So people get excited that time of year. So it's fun to follow that along and hear the excitement and figure out what's going on in their neck of the woods.
Yeah, it's awkward starting in September because everyone's like, dude, it's not the rut. I'm like, yeah, I know. But like I have to start it now to like build it, right? I can just turn it on when the rut's here. We got to like build into it. So we started in September, whatever the first week is, whatever that Tuesday is. And we take stories from last year, kind of. And then as the season starts to heat up, it really gets to be a ton of fun. We took I think in one episode, we had 8 calls for people reporting on rut activity, which, it's coming from all over the country. And it's cool to hear.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm going to try to be more active for you. I feel like since I'm not like, I don't feel like I'm an expert. I don't feel like I should call and talk. I think that's where I'm at on that. You know what I mean?
You call me like, what are you drinking, dude? What kind of scotch is on the show tonight? And be like, and that could be it. But you could just be like, what's up, Okayus Hunter? It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna be like, there's another Okayus Hunter coming on.
I need to get in to be one of these inside joke prankster guys. Like that's my spot. I'm not gonna contribute anything positive to the show.
Yeah, I seen a fork and horn chasing. Shit's getting serious.
I'll hang up on you and and then I'll block you forever. So don't prank. And then we actually had the idea to like stick the audience on the pranksters because I kept all their numbers. I know what their numbers are. So I was like thinking, should I just put this number on the page and put it on blast?
Yeah, sure. Be like, hey, call into the show, and it's this guy's number.
Yeah. Hey man, how's the rut going? What? Send him a voicemail that says, "How's the rut going?" and that's it.
Just get like 50 calls from the listeners and just bury them with that. That's what I'll do. And I said that actually the last prank call I said, we're gonna put you on the registered sex offender list, and then I got no more calls. Now no one wants to call me. I'm like, no, I was for pranksters only, guys.
Yeah, I'll try to be more active when I get a second to call in and contribute to the show and keep the momentum going.
We got new segments. We got a partnership with ehunter.com. It's eHunter without an E at the end of it. It's just the R. They're doing our news for us exclusively. Deervane is a really great guy I know here out of Wisconsin that does like the best practical hunting tips. So he's doing the tip of the week for us. Then we got Musket Powder War Danger's got this really cool seasoning. And so we're doing a recipe of the week, listener submitted recipes. So we're sharing that. And if you share it, you win some musket powder, which is kind of neat for incentive.
Nice.
We just try to do some really fun, interactive things and try to give back to the community as much as we can.
Yeah, that's the way to do it, man. If you can get people involved, it'll grow substantially. And I think you have the platform started to really motivate people to, because everybody wants to tell their story and have a voice, you know what I mean? And you're the outlet to do it, to go on there and tell a 5-minute story of what you've seen that night. Because there's nothing better than calling your buddy and saying, hey, man, I seen that buck. He was chasing tonight. He was with the doe. He didn't get close enough. You know what I mean? Or I got a trail cam picture of this deer. So
that's what we get. And then the other side of it is like every now and again we talk to some big names, and for our listeners to be able to talk to these people, that opportunity doesn't exist unless you go to a trade show and do some cheesy picture. Mm-hmm. So like we had Mark Kenyon on. And we had 2 guys call into the show and kind of fanboy out and be like, oh my God, Mark Kenyon, you're my favorite hero, blah, blah, blah. I read your book, and they got all jacked up. And it's like, look at that. We just connected 2 people that wouldn't have really connected otherwise, right?
Yeah, that's super cool.
If you know this, Mark Kenny is a pretty hard guy to reach.
Yeah.
Same thing with Sam Soholt and a couple others, like John Eberhart was another one. Like it was just really cool to be able to connect it. But then we'll talk to, like, we had a guy on our show last week. He's never been on a podcast before. No one's heard of him. That was awesome. Like, we have a wide spectrum. We'll talk gear, tactics, we'll bullshit. We talked to the You Betcha guy, the dude that drinks all the bush.
Oh, like, really? Yeah.
Like, he was on. Like,
nice.
I
could contribute to that show.
Yeah.
Like, that, for the record, that guy is an incredibly intelligent marketer, content producer.
Yeah, I could tell.
Yeah.
Get on that level. Holy freaking A. So anyway, yeah, man, we cover a lot of ground, which is good. And we're happy to be the generalists and be the people's show. That's kind of what I want it to be.
Yeah, man. You got any tips for us newbie podcasters?
You got the right theme. Just have fun. That's it. And fuck the technology. Like, dude, when I started, I had some Yeti mic and a USB. Like, it didn't matter. And now I got all this fancy stuff, and every time I changed, I had problems.
We haven't bought anything for like a year and a half.
Get your message and content right, and the rest will follow.
Yeah, we just keep releasing episodes and keep growing. And
I kind of feel bad because I'm telling there's a lot of people asking how to start a show and what they need, and I'm giving them all our bullshit.
Yeah,
equipment,
you need a good why,
but it works.
You need to be consistent, and that's it. Like, you don't need much. You could do it with Anchor on your phone. You don't really need much. There's a guy that I was just talking to today, Hunt Free, brand new podcast, episode 3. He's doing it with Anchor on his phone. He's doing a great job. The young guy. He's in the Navy. All about supporting military and hunters. I was like, you're cool, man. Good job.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm gonna say, like, a lot of people talk about doing something, but actually doing it is a totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
Anybody who actually starts in, I don't care if they ask us to come on episode 1, like, I'm there, because you're starting, and like that's the hardest part is to, just like Gary B says, just post it and don't give a shit what anybody else thinks.
Yeah, just do what you gotta do. Dude, my first guest ever was Jared Scheffler, and I was nervous as hell.
Wow.
Like, it was my first episode, and I was like, what am I doing? And he said yes. I was like, oh, shit, I didn't expect that. And so there's a video coming out soon. You'll see this when it's done. It should be done over the weekend. But it was like, and today on the show, we have with us guest Jared Scheffler with Whitetail Adrenaline. I was like, and I didn't edit it because why would I do that? Like, I'm authentic. But I've come a long way. It's funny. I've learned how to like get a good buzz going. So
yeah, that helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cut loose, be yourself. There's nothing worse than, like, I hear some, people are like, not everybody should film hunts, or not everybody should make a Facebook page, not everybody should start a podcast. I'm the complete opposite. You know what I mean? I feel like everybody, if that's something they want to pursue, they should go after it.
Just don't call it something outdoors, for the love of Pete.
Yeah.
Or TV when you're not on TV.
Yeah. So, just try to be unique and just do your thing and have fun doing it. But I'm 100% promoting anybody to start anything, because it's tough starting something, man. It takes balls, and it takes a lot of work to figure out what you're doing, you know what I mean? And that's why we get a lot of messages. People are like, what gear should I buy? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, you don't really need much.
Buy cheap gear when you start.
Yeah, if you wanted to have, good quality, this is what we use. Because they're always like, well, what do you use? So you send them, and they're like, that's it? Yeah. I'm like, yeah, everything will fit in like a suitcase, bro.
It's humbling.
Yeah, like everything will fit in a small duffel bag. Like, we got a Flambeau padded,
It's basically like an extra large toolbox.
Yeah, like an extra large padded nice case, and everything fits in there. You know what I mean? Like, that's our show. Like, it's not everything. Everybody thinks it's something unique and fancy, but it's really not. It's podunk as hell. And we're out in my garage. It's always like 55 degrees. It's never warm.
Yeah, where you guys at? You guys are like somewhere in the Midwest, East.
We're Illinois, yeah, mid.
Oh shit! Well, you're right below me. Then I'm
in
Wisconsin, so.
Yep.
In the garage, you gotta have a space heater out there or something, and it's gotta be cold.
We had an electric heater for a while. That almost caught on fire.
It did catch on fire, and I noticed it, and I told Cody, I was like, hey, the unit's on fire over here. He's like, shit.
Yeah, but we run a propane heater. Sometimes with
the unit's on fire.
Yeah, sometimes the the audio is like. That's just straight propane.
That's
heater.
the propane.
Just
yeah,
ripping.
You gotta keep it cracked too.
Yeah.
You don't like die
There's like in the intros, I'm like, the propane is cranking in here, like just so they know that there's the static in the backgrounds.
Sometimes like we'll just let it rip during the whole episode, and we'll turn it off during the intro, and we're like, all right, in the episode we got the heater ripping.
Yeah, you can just hear the roller heater the whole time.
But
sounds like someone's playing white noise.
Man, it's been a while since we had the AC on.
Yeah.
That's coming though.
Yeah. We got the AC in the window. So.
Every now and again, my cat or dog will bust in, and it's like, meow. It's like, God, Gus, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, added quality. That's what I always say. The guy we had on last week was like, my dog might bark sometimes. I'm like, man, that's just added content. That's all.
Keep it. Yeah. I don't edit anything out, dude. I let it rip. And so when I do it live, it's kind of like people are like, ooh, dude, you're gonna do this live? I'm like, that's how we roll.
Yeah.
You got to get what we get.
Yeah, you get what you get, man. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on, dude. I want.
Yeah, we didn't talk deer too much. Sorry, guys.
No, that's fine, dude. I wanted you to come on, and I like your brand. I like what you're doing. I can tell that you're a passionate, good guy. Just the brief LinkedIn content. It's crazy that we met on LinkedIn. That's like the last place that I professionally need to be. But
there's a lot of hunters going to LinkedIn.
Yeah,
for some
there's
reason.
a lot of hunters
Gary
going
V's
to LinkedIn.
Push them all there.
Yeah. I'm on there. I'm releasing, some of our content. A lot of our blogs seem to do very well on there. So
the Boga guys are there a lot. I know they're coming on our show in a couple weeks.
Yeah, the Boga guys want to come on our show also. So
that's great. Yeah, so it's just a tight knit community, man. It's fun when we can jam with other podcasters. But we're booked out till like June. I'm confused. I've never had that before. I don't know what to make of that. We're talking to a taxidermist this next Tuesday, so that'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
Cool
I think we got 12 guys lined up. People we're really passionate on if a list we're the people's podcast, kind of like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We made this so that normal people could have a voice. We're not catering to celebrities. So if someone's like, hey, I want to come on, and so as long as they're not full of shit, we normally have them on, right? Because normally, as long as
you got to vet them a little bit, yeah.
You got to vet them a little bit, you know what I mean? But there's a lot of people that are messaging us hey, and I'm like, yeah, dude, super awesome that you messaged us. That's what we did this for. We're gonna have you on. You're just gonna have to deal with us because I promised you a month and a half ago or so, and I'm finally able to message you, be like, hey man, schedule finally cleared up. We're finally caught up with the people that we had to get on. Now let's do this. And I just let them know hey, it's gonna be a little far out, but we're gonna do this. You know what I mean? So
I started using Google Calendar, so it's I lock it in the calendar now, and because I only do it on Tuesdays, it makes it easy.
Yeah,
I would say we can't schedule anything, dude.
I'm the most non-type A person you've ever met in your life. If I have any schedule in my life, it just isn't as fun. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that.
I'm bringing you to the dark side. I am bringing you to
discipline is freedom, guys.
I don't know, dude.
Because then it's I got people talking to me on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on freaking
I just run
Messenger.
notes on my phone.
Then I just forget it. I'm like, oh no.
No.
Did I double booked before? I had two people I was talking to that had the same kind of name, the primitive hunting, and then I had the primitive hunter, and then I booked them. But I was like, oh shit, which one am I talking to? Dude.
Oh no, dude. I got a notebook on my phone, on my iPhone, weird. And it's the guy's name. I talked to him on Facebook. This is what it's about. I talked to him on Instagram. This is what it's about. I got it laid out because if I got it, and then what I do is okay, I talked to this guy. Is he available? No. Move on to the next guy. I talked to this guy about coming on here recently. Is he available? Yes. That's one schedule because see, we got kids, and we try to at least do 2 every time we get together. So.
Which is cool. Yeah, you guys did one before me, so that's I was like, shit, you're doing 2 in one night. That's impressive. I do one.
Yeah, so we try to at least knock out 2 because we try to be a dad as much as possible. And if you do this on a Friday night, you have the intro, the outro, the full podcast, BS before, the BS after, and then you're trying to produce the episode plus get all the picture content, and then anything else that we try to do, videos, pictures, we try to do it all in one night, and then we're good for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So we try to nail it down so it's easier for us to get together. You know,
it's just a little less ass chewing from the wife when it comes down to it.
Yeah,
that's the what is it? The crux.
Yeah,
the crux. I don't know. Whatever. That's the thing. Well, dude, guys, thank you so much for having me on the show. Amen to being dads first. That's where I'm at in life, and I love it. So I hear you there.
Yeah, man, we appreciate you coming on, and I can't wait to see where the Where2Hunt app goes, and I'm gonna be following along, and like I said, I will try to contribute to our show, and I want to put a call out to our listeners, especially our hardcore listeners. Go on the Where2Hunt podcast and call in there. Talking to like Thor, Justin, Paul, Bryant. Who else do we call
Nate,
out?
Scott,
Nate,
Jesse,
Scott.
Matt, Garrett, Grant.
You guys know your audience well. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, we have like a hardcore 20. Calling you guys out. Go to the Where2Hunt, contribute. We're gonna be there. Maybe me and one of the guys could get into a topic, like saddle hunting or something.
Gun hunting.
We can bounce back and forth. Gun hunting,
Yeah.
You never know. Yeah. You never know what might come up.
Do you chamber 2 or 3?
Or if ducks bring sheds from the
Mississippi,
Mississippi up
Yeah,
here, that's a topic that we're trying to figure out.
I haven't heard the Georgia boys complaining, but I don't
science.
know if they're actually shed hunting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actual science. We got a bunch of guys from the south that say the ducks, when they migrate to the north, bring all the sheds with them and drop them in Illinois. I'm not really sure if that's science.
But they're big sheds.
Yeah, but I don't know.
But they're not. They say they're junior booners down there. We need to ask that. We need to ask that. We need to get.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, guys. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Just a call out for our listeners. Check out the Where2Hunt podcast and the Where2Hunt app if this is something that you think you might like to utilize, or if you're looking for another podcast, this is a great one you can interact with. I called out a few people to interact on this podcast. I think it would be cool. We all get on there and kind of our group.
Oh, cool. Another guy just calling me out. Cool.
Yeah. Interact and join in his brand and just do what we like to do. Just promote other people, help them grow, and in the end, the right thing is always the right thing. So.
And I'm just going to shout it out right now. If you're not listening to Gary Vee, you need to be listening to Gary Vee. I know he talks a lot about business, but he also talks about being a damn good human being.
Just life in general.
Being
a good human being.
And then also check out the Order of Man podcast.
Yeah.
I haven't checked it out yet, but you're big on that.
Order of Man's really solid. Anything, just to motivate you in life.
Just be positive.
Yeah,
Live your best life.
One thing we like to say all the time is leave a legacy, and leaving a positive legacy is the best one you can. And when people, I always tell people, when they think Cody Jenkins, I just want them to think, yeah, he's a decent human being. That's what I tell people. You know what I mean? That's a legacy I'm leaving, and I want my kids to be like, yeah, my dad was a good dude. So that's all I want in life. So get out there, try to be a good person, leave a legacy, and wipe the legacies out.